welcome to another RSR. Tonight I'm reviewing Costa Rica 1, Panama 2 in 2023 Gold Cup. Group C, Costa Rica 1, Panama 2 en la Copa Oro. Grupo C, Jornada 1. Panama was the better team by far. They won this chess match. Hook, line, sinker. They checked Costa Rica early. They made sure they checkmated them. Costa Rica may have made a better move, but they were still checkmated in the end. Panama was just the better team. Costa Rica had a couple of offensive chances against the run of play. They got one goal, but really, they had no answers. Nothing really went their way. This game was all Panama pretty much. Goals were scored as follows. In the 23rd minute, Jose Fajardo scores. The ball's played in. Fajardo heads it in. Past Chamorro to make it 1-0. 1-0 Panama. That's the way we go into halftime. 1-0. 1-0 Panama. 68th minute, Edgar Barcenas scores as well. Ball crossed in. Barcenas is open. Nobody's even marking him. The near post for him. The far post for the man who's crossing. Barcenas heads it in. All he has to do is nod it in. He does to make it 2-0. 2-0 Panama. 0-2. Then Aaron Suarez rounds the keeper. Rounds Mosquera. Pops the ball into the net in the 90-plus first minute to make it 1-2. 1-2. Costa Rica gets the goal. They get their consolation, but in the end, it's not enough. It was way too late. The match ends 1-2. 1-2. Panama wins pretty single-handedly, pretty heavy-handedly, I should say. Panama's just the better team right now. It's a similar game to the way the Nations League game went back in March. It doesn't surprise me. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. Stats are as follows. 6 shots to 15, 4 shots on goal to 10, 39% possession to 61% possession, 389 passes to 603, 83% pass accuracy to 89%, 14 fouls to 13, 1 offside to 0, 2 yellow cards to 1, 0 red cards to 0, 1 corner to 5. Again, Panama is the younger team. They're reloading on the fly, and their team is just better than Costa Rica right now. Costa Rica, again, lost for the same reason they lost in March. Costa Rica are not reloading on the fly very well. They don't want to rebuild. They do have some good young players, but they are going to pick players like Borges and Campbell until they're completely done. They do have a good young keeper in Chamorro. He's a good keeper. He can be the replacement of Navas. Chamorro actually played pretty good in this game. I think he's the reason why this game wasn't worse. The scoreline wasn't worse. That Suarez goal technically could have been a goal that put Costa Rica into a position where they could have turned this game around, or at least to a point. They didn't, but Chamorro did a lot of work in my book. He did what he had to do. It still didn't end well for him. His team still lost, but I wouldn't say the 2 headers were on him. There was no center back on Barcenas on that header. Fajardo, that was just Fajardo winning that header. I can't really put those on Chamorro. But again, Costa Rica lost because their team is just not ready to compete. They are a distant 5th, or they are 5th in CONCACAF, maybe even 6th. Panama right now is better than Costa Rica. Costa Rica is in trouble right now. Costa Rica needs to build. They need to reload on the fly. As in, play your young players, because there are some good young players. Benet, Contreras, so on and so forth. Play your young players. Playing Campbell doesn't help anybody. Playing Navas doesn't help anybody. Playing Borges does not help anybody. Playing a guy like Venegas does not help anybody. Not at this stage of the game. If you're going to reload, you reload. You don't try to half-ass reload by also playing your older players. The World Cup was the time to do that. half-ass it because you weren't getting out of that group anyway. And it wasn't as bad as you would think. Costa Rica competed, so to speak. But after that, you should have totally said that was the time we went half-ass. Our old guys and our younger guys in harmony. Now you just got to reload. You're kicking the can down the road. And that's why you lost in March, and that's why you lost here. That's why I had you getting knocked out in the group stage and finishing under El Salvador, which could still happen. El Salvador beats y'all, and you beat Martinique. That's 3 points. All El Salvador has to do is either really kick your ass or draw Panama, because they lost to Martinique. Do I think they'll bounce back? Yes. Do I think it's very likely that El Salvador still finishes second in this group, Panama finishes first? It's still likely, but El Salvador shot themselves in the foot. Point being is, Costa Rica is not helping their case. They're not helping their own case. They're kicking the can down the road thinking, oh, we got more time with Borges, more time with Campbell, so on and so forth. Almost could have said more time with Navas, but he was hurt. That's why Chamorro played. And that's where we are. Costa Rica's in trouble. They are in trouble. They do not want to change. They do not want to reload. Panama has. They are reloading on the fly, and they got some good young players. They got a good side. This normally happens, Panama and Costa Rica, the power shifting. This normally happens. But Costa Rica's bringing it on themselves, this power shift, and losing 2 straight to Panama. Missing the Nations League because they lost to them. And now, depending on what happens in the rest of the group, could be knocked out of the group because of this game. Or definitely finishing second. I mean, basically, Panama checkmated Costa Rica. You want me to say that? I'll say that. Panama did what they had to do. I can't really say anything special about Panama. They're a good team. They did what they had to do. They checkmated Costa Rica here. This was a chess match. This game was boring. Panama checkmated Costa Rica. That's facts. What I will say is, I would say man of the match was Fajardo. Fajardo getting the first goal, opening the scoring, and they just cruised from there, Panama did. I mean, they already had checkmated them, but they cruised from there, and they won this game, deservedly so. Panama was the way better side. But Costa Rica's got to learn from this. That's my big takeaway from this, is Costa Rica has to learn that kicking the can down the road wasn't the play. You did that at the World Cup, and it sort of, I wouldn't say completely worked out, but you didn't get embarrassed. You won a game. Could have beaten Germany, or at least drew them. Could have gotten out of the group. They weren't that far off, let's remember, because they use the oldies and youngins in harmony situation. But now you got to just cut your losses and reload. You have time to do it. Because now you're very likely going to have to play those older players during Nations League quarterfinal. By the way, you're still 4th. You had a bye to the quarters of the Nations League to qualify to Copa America. Panama didn't overtake you yet, no. You're still 4th. Or you're still in the top 4. Yes. So you're in the quarterfinals. In November, you're not going to kick the can down the road then. Or I should say you have to kick down the can down the road till then, because this is the time to let the youth prove that they're that good at the Gold Cup. You still had a chance to win, let alone with all the frickin' rotated sides. But no, you kick the can down the road. Maybe because of that, but I don't think that's the right decision. And now you basically committed to kicking the can down the road until Nations League quarterfinal to qualify for Copa America. And then if you don't get through that, you have to play the play-in. Do you kick the can down the road for the play-in? Or do you not and try to win with youngins and throw them into the fire to go to Copa America? It's a tough decision for Costa Rica. I think they made their bed. I think they've made their bed. And if they miss Copa America, you know exactly why. They kicked the can down the road way too long. Bennett should be starting. Contreras started. You got to go youth movement. This was the time, and you didn't. March was the time. This was the time. Post-World Cup was the time, and you didn't. You're still trying to squeeze the last bit of juice out of the old players. I don't think that's the right idea. I don't. And that's my big takeaway from this match. It really is. Costa Rica could have won had they reloaded on the fly. And maybe used an old player here or there, but half the team was still the old faithful, you know? I don't know if that's the plan, or that should be the plan. But, okay. With that being said, I felt like that needed to be said. That's my takeaway from this game. It wasn't that much I could really talk about the game itself. Panama checkmated Costa Rica. The game was boring. You had the goals, you had the stats, but really it's just Costa Rica lost because they don't want to move on. They don't want to go onwards and upwards. They got some good young players. Give them a chance. And let them run it. But I think you've made your bed. You have to keep kicking the can down the road, at least till you qualify for Copa America. Then, the last time we'll see Celso Borges in a Costa Rica shirt is when he says he's done, right? Probably. Same thing with Joel Campbell, right? Same thing with Navas, right? But that's not the way it should be. Maybe for Navas, maybe it should be that way, but everybody else, though. With that being said, if you like this video, like it, share, subscribe. You know what it is. Tell your friends, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification once subscribed, send super chats on the live streams, comment on this video, put us a playlist, share it with friends and family, all that great stuff. I shall see you tomorrow for a live watch along and review of Canada versus Guadeloupe. That's the only thing we're covering tomorrow. The Canada match, Group D, the final match day or group round 1. We'll see who's in the catbird seat going into match round 2. This Gold Cup's going to go by in a hurry, ain't it? With that being said, I'll see you tomorrow. I'm Ryan and I'm out. Peace. See you.